Pro Logic Radio, your mind spring.
Give me less commercials. That's what we need.
KCAA Loma Linda.
Awesome radio station.
A king who was bruised and scarred, set me free, gave me a charge.
Good afternoon, everyone. You are listening to KCAA Radio. Welcome to the Real Men of Real Estate. I am your host, Harrison Silverstein, mentor and lead trainer of the Note Assistance Program. Here on my show, we'll teach you how we make money and go to heaven by investing in first position mortgage notes. Throughout this program, we're going to learn the who, what, where, when, and why of this business. Our goal for each episode is to demonstrate through example or introduction a way to grow your wealth passively while doing good for the world. Our weapon of choice is the first position mortgage note. So if you're a disgruntled landlord or just looking to fast track that 9 to 5, this is the show for you. For those of us new to note investing, you're probably wondering, what are these notes we speak of? Sticky notes? No. As a matter of fact, most of you have been a part of a note without even knowing it. If you've ever made a monthly installment payment on a car, cell phone, or appliance, you've been in the note business, just on the other side of it. When you go into the bank and sign for a mortgage document, there is a piece of paper in that package called a promissory note, and that's what our entire industry is named after. It's simply a promise to pay. Once a note investor buys a note, they become the bank, and you become the one who collects the mortgage payment, and the real estate is collateral. On today's episode, we have a very special guest, Jasmine Willois, president of the Note Assistance Program. Hello, Jasmine. Good to have you.
Hello. This is our first time doing radio. You know what would be awesome, I bet? If you looked at the camera and said hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody. That radio and camera doesn't really go hand in hand in my brain, but we're getting used to it.
Yeah, no, definitely. Thanks for having me, and we are excited to talk to you really about our whole mission, which is how to make money and go to heaven, but from a passive way. So before we get into it too much, let's talk about this make money and go to heaven thing. What does that mean to you? Harrison is our lead training here at the Note Assistance Program, and we are really here to pass this message on. So before we get into it, what does that mean to you?
Well, making money and going to heaven, to me, I think commonly everybody experiences price gouging and, people being greedy and whatnot. But in note investing, what really, making money and go to heaven, what that means to me is that, not only can we be a profitable business, but we can also leave money on the table and keep this great ecosystem of real estate going. I mean, it's, everybody's able to make money. You can make friends, make partnerships along the way, and everybody's happy. It's literally a win-win situation.
Makes sense. I love that.
But passing it back to you, Jasmine, what does make money and go to heaven mean to you?
Well, this is a great place for me to start because for many of you who know me personally, my day started out on Wall Street. So this idea was coined, manifested, born from that background, right? Spent quite a few years working at the World Trade Center there in New York City with small boutique firms like Joseph Stevens. For those of you who are out there, have an extensive banking background, going with Washington Mutual. For those of you who ex-bankers out there, worked with them. GMAC Homecomings. But one of the things that I noticed was that, especially when I was out there day trading during the dot-com era, we made a lot of money, a ton of money, right? But I wasn't so sure on what direction, where we were going after we left this wonderful world of ours. So one of the main things that stuck with me, one of the things that terrified me when I was down there in Wall Street was, how was I going to figure out how to make the same type of money, but make it show that I was going to heaven? So in short, how was I going to do what's now called impact investing, right? Have a beautiful impact on all the people around us so that not only just the bankers, but the borrowers as well.
Absolutely. That's beautiful. And, I think it's only appropriate for our first episode here at Real Men of Real Estate. The best place to start is just at the beginning. Today I want this episode to be all about to dive into the why. Why did we choose to invest in promissory notes? Why are we so passionate about this industry? Why do we love teaching and educating people about this alternative investor strategy? Because as Jasmine has mentioned before, we have this great program called the Note Assistance Program. It's a wonderful education platform, and we get so excited about notes. So I definitely want to spend the time to explore both of our backgrounds, and most of all, what, you started off in Wall Street, and what really made you transition to creating something like the No Systems program?
Yeah, just my desire to find people like you, right? The whole point of this was before I went out and disappeared into the abyss, which a lot of us money managers do, right? We start big funds, and next thing you know, we are really not in tune with what's happening on Main Street, right? So that's one of the biggest things. That disconnect between Wall Street and Main Street really, really was, if I may say, just weakened on my conscience, right? So really, without knowing that there was going to be a Harrison or a Natasha or the Brendas that are down there, for those of you who listen to our podcast, we have a wonderful podcast on Naked Notes Podcast. You can find it on Spotify, iTunes, wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. But on there, you also find some of our membership stories. And so that's really what this was about. It was about making sure that I was able to take this message, the message that you too deserve, the same type of profits and returns that banks were getting. You too deserved an opportunity to not necessarily be bound to a job, show up there because you work, and then delivering the best services that you could in that position. That was something that can be afforded to every American if we took the moment, again, to make sure that we made a symbiotic relationship between the borrower and the banker. And that's really what the main point of this was. Tell us a little bit about yourself, though. I mean, when you stumbled upon this, you're one of my best proteges about this, right? And the reason I say that is this is a program, again, that I created for everyone, as long as you have the capacity to do it. And you were one of the youngest members to take advantage of this. So how did that look like, and what did that look like for you?
Well, I have a... I mean, I'm obviously, as you said, I'm young, straight out of high school. I had a lot of, I was definitely a studious person in high school, and I was always thinking about a little bit about the future and about how I was going to fit in. Right out of high school, I joined the Marine Corps, and
congratulations, by the way. Thank you for your service.
Thank you. And ultimately, everything that I was doing from that point, like thinking about the future, was, how am I going to carve out a little slice of life for myself? How am I going to fit into this world? And the first step I took was joining the Marine Corps. That really, not only that, I knew that I was going to need assistance with paying for college, right? So, I'm not from, a pretty average family background, but I knew I was going to need financial assistance. So
joining the military was really your first thing to help you get some financial assistance for whatever that next step was. And you thought it was college, I guess, right?
Yeah, and it was, part of my plan to make me a more well-rounded person and challenge myself and see, exactly what I could take on.
I'm sure that pushed you to some limits.
It did, and I mean, for any of those that know me, or I'm a thin guy. I'm not beefy, not 6'4", guy from Texas or anything like that. But but I made it, and I got the most out of it. Some of the best, direction and leadership that I could have as a young man definitely came from there.
So you got a lot of discipline from there. That's
Absolutely.
One of the things that kind of helped you out in this business, from what I can tell.
Absolutely. It definitely helped me. I'm a man of processes, right? Check the box, make sure, don't cut corners, go through each step of what we do and make sure nothing gets overlooked. That's the kind of thorough things, processes that I attract myself to because of that. And that's precisely what you've created, and that's what kind of resonated with me when I was going to say
that's really one of the things that made us connect when you made your way here. So you went to the military.
Yep.
After you got out of that, where'd you find yourself?
Well, after that, I was doing a lot of odd jobs while I was going to college. I joined the reserves, right? So I was going to college, junior college at the time, and you know what? I still didn't know what I wanted to do for a profession.
It can happen.
Yeah, no, I didn't at all. I just was kind of... I knew there was opportunities out there, but I didn't know how that could be applied into a degree. And so that's where the basis of my indecision was. I started everything, as low as, starting with the most basic of jobs, being a busboy and stuff like that. Moving up to, driving armored cars and doing the cash in transit for the bank trucks.
So you really wanted to be close to that money.
I ended up being surrounded by it. After that, I went to executive protection, and that I was definitely surrounded by wealth. And you know what? It kind of hit me at a certain point in time that, I was helping secure the lifestyle and privacy of other people. What hit me was that this was attainable. This is totally attainable. And not in the fact that I wanted to own 10 houses on Malibu or anything like that. I just wanted to have that kind of secure lifestyle and privacy to do what I want. I feel like
Makes sense.
financial freedom gets thrown around a lot, but that
Right.
truly is where we're at, and that's where I was kind of, I wanted for my future, right? And the one thing that occurred to me as well was we didn't have a means of doing that by sticking with my W-2. It turns out,
Makes sense.
trading time for money wasn't a great return on my investment.